variety of speakers each year. U2 bass guitarist Adam Clayton spoke to broadcaster John Kelly about his life and career.
I've no idea what we're going to do. I've never done anything like this before, and it's unusual to see the audience eye to eye like this, but I'm sure after an hour we will be intimately acquainted.
U2 have been together since their school days in the 1970s. In this conversation, Adam Clayton looks back at the highs and lows of a life in music.
When punk came along, even though punk was an English expression of anger against a generation that were going nowhere, I think we saw that energy, and it would have been also inspired by the Boomtown Rats, Bob Geldof. Bob Geldof actually was a big catalyst because he proved that you could come from Dublin, or even worse, Black Rock, and and actually, take on the music business, take on the media at their own game, and win.
The band for the future, the 80s or 90s, who knows? U2.
U2 were rejected by every record company, big and small, until Island Records showed some interest.
We didn't have any money, and it was Paul's wife that was paying for us to have, chips and tea in the local cafe and stuff like that. So we were in London, and Paul said, if we're going to sign this deal, I've got to give the guys some money before the weekend. And I was reminded that the place where we signed the deal and indeed received the money was, in fact, I was at the Lion King at the Lyceum with my daughter a couple of weeks ago, and I was reminded that we had signed the record deal and got the money to go out for the weekend in the ladies' toilet at the Lyceum. And at the time, that was the quietest place we could do the transaction. I think there were a couple of things that were different about us. There was a fairly strong spiritual stroke religious streak running through us. So we always kind of realized that, if you treated the people well, they would come back again. Also, I think the zeitgeist moment shifted where, and this was maybe what Geldof sussed with Live Aid, where there was this sort of moment where music was more than just sort of entertainment, where it was more than just pop and something trivial that was on the radio. And that was who we were. And, maybe that was the thing that saved us in the end.
Something that comes out very strongly, again, from Bono's book, is that himself and Ed seem to have been particularly motivated by religious belief, to the extent that it nearly almost derailed the band quite early on.
It was kind of very difficult at the time because of all the people that thought being in a band was a good idea. I was probably the biggest supporter of that. And when I realized that the three people in the band were going to bed early and reading their Bibles in group, it was pretty lonely.
When they get famous, bands often become less interesting. Their lives can turn into a whirlwind of gigs, fame, high living, and award ceremonies. These days, Adam says, after a gig, he goes back to his hotel room and has a nice hot cup of tea. But he has been open about his addiction problems in the past.
You were with a gang of people who loved you and looked after you. In other circumstances, you might have been thrown to the winds.
Yeah, they did call me on my nonsense, and I didn't like it. I didn't like having to look at myself. It forced me to, take away the layers of the proverbial onion and do the work. And I'm glad I did that, because actually being sober is about the best experience you could have.
Adam has been a supporter of Music Cares, an organisation that funds addiction recovery.
My particular journey is the same as an awful lot of people in recovery, but the important thing is
the work that's actually done by Music Cares, and that's that they make funds available for people who really, you know, they don't have access to funds and they don't have access to a second chance, and it offers a lot of hope.
If I don't do the things that I need to do to keep my sobriety good and polished and shined up, you know, you can fall back, and I don't want to do that.
U2 begin playing the new specially built Sphere Arena in Las Vegas in September.
We're building a new entertainment experience, one powered by cutting-edge technology, but firmly rooted in the belief that human beings crave togetherness.
I now believe, having put, 40 years into building a catalogue of songs, that you are entitled to go out and perform those songs. Those songs mean something to people, and it's always nice to come up with a new album, come out with a new song, but it's the songs that really mean something to people that are the ones that you should be playing. And the Sphere is quite an interesting challenge for us, because it's potentially, if we get it right, it's turning music into an immersive experience. I mean, up to now, music has been a very flat, kind of two-dimensional sort of video reinforcement of a live concert. But when we go into the Sphere, we're going to be doing something very different in there, and we're going to be immersing people in a way that they will have a different relationship with music, and hopefully it'll make music competitive again with video games and all of the new technologies that have kind of pushed music to the side.
Adam, now in his 60s, looks back at over 40 years, knowing Paul, Larry, and Dave.
Our relationship with each other has gotten stronger, I think, because of everything that we've been through together. And now I think we appreciate everybody's contribution in a different way. And, I've learned so much from those guys. I'm really happy I've known these guys that long.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Clayton.
Thank you.